just gotta wait till everything says it's live. Which is always the hardest part. Let's see what YouTube says.
I see we're live on YouTube.
Beautiful.
I'm waiting. I'm still waiting in the lobby.
Okay. Yep.
Hey,
I'm
yep,
showing that we're live now. So, how is everybody's Saturday doing? This is Making Awesome, Chapter 41. It is the Father's Day special. We actually are joined by a very special guest, our dad. not you.
Well,
Justin.
not Justin's dad.
Not you, Justin, but John and my
Justin
dad.
by proxy.
Justin by proxy, that's fair.
Yeah.
So we are joined by Dr. Kenneth Posner today. But guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves. We will go ahead and start with Justin. We're going to end over on Dad so he can give us the real rundown.
What's up, everyone? I'm Justin. I'm a rising senior in high school, and I work for 3D Musketeers and do design, time lapses, and everything in between. So, yeah, that's me.
John?
I'm like the other Grant.
That's your entire intro. I'm the other Grant.
Is it wrong? I mean, granted, you know a little bit more. You know more about some stuff, and I know more about some other stuff. But come on,
it's good enough for government work. All right, and Dad.
Well, I guess then I'm the other rising senior. But again, the proud dad of Grant and Jonathan, and glad to be here today. It gets me out of doing yard work and working on my lovely wife's honey-do list.
We are always happy to take you out of any of that hard work there. That's what it's all about, right?
Well, God forbid you all would do it. So
hey, whoa. Hey, bad back over here.
Whoa.
You know what? I'll help you. I will put my management degrees to good use, and I'll sit there and act like I'm a county worker, Jonathan, and just manage the entire process.
That's what project managers are for, buddy. I'm not one of those.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one because one of our staff members has provided some questions for Dad here, but we are also going to be talking about the brand new Prusa SL1S resin 3D printer. We'll be talking a little bit about some slicers that we talked about earlier in the week. So Cura and IdeaMaker was the other one, I think so.
Yeah, IdeaMaker was this week.
But, before we do that, we got to hit the billing department because someone's got to pay the damn bills around here. This episode, as always, is brought to you by 3D Musketeers. If you are looking to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full art-to-part, rapid prototyping, product development, and 3D printing, you can reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. Links will be in the description down below. Allison,
hi, Allison.
Says hi. How you doing? We got my dad on. Got my dad on the podcast today. And apparently Victoria's off doing important cat things.
It's weird, Grant. Your video is mirrored on the.
Oh, is it? This is the one that I have to make sure that I mirror myself for.
Yeah, I was like, that's strange.
Here, done. Ta-da! Well, you guys won't see it. It's coming. Don't worry. But yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Now it's fixed. Now everybody likes it. It looks the same to me, so it doesn't matter. But yeah. We got a hello from Michigan. Dad, that's gonna be a question. Go green. That's right.
Green.
Go green. Yeah. So, do you want to give us some of your background, Dad, so that people kind of know, where you come from and all that?
Sure. I'm a relocated Northeasterner that fell in love with the Midwest and had been going to Michigan State since the time I was 8 to visit my older brother, then decided to go there for college and did 2 degrees at Michigan State. So go green, big shout out to the Spartans. And then got tired of the weather and went as far south as I could go to work for University of Miami, where I met my lovely wife there. And we relocated a couple of times around the country, and now we're located sort of in the west central area of Florida, and I'm currently serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs at St. Leo University.
Yeah, so you went to college and never left. I mean, that is the easiest way to describe it.
That is true. My biggest claim to fame is probably that I have 3 different degrees and never went to any one of my commencements.
See, Justin, you don't have to go to the commencements unless your parents really nag you to go. Then you should go. Then you should go.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be graduating in the spring, and they just grow up so fast. Oh, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. One of our staffers like, hey, you should try to get your dad on the podcast, and this was yesterday at what, like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'll text him, see if he can do it. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Dad's on the podcast. Changed everything up. Dad's on the podcast.
Yep. Father's Day special.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day tomorrow.
Yeah. Don't forget, if Dad's still around, make sure you wish him Happy Father's Day. Don't forget to call your loved ones. No, we're not ending it right now. I'm just putting that out there now.
You start cutting to the outro anytime you do that.
Oh, yeah. So is that when we bring in the editing and we just cut to outro?
It's actually just an automatic process. After you say that, the outro just rolls normally.
Oh, well, yeah. I do.
Right now, we're actually talking over the outro.
Oh, hell, See you later. No. So, all right, let's kind of jump into the questions then. This first question is hilarious, and I love the fact that I looked at these questions once. Because I said, they're put together by a former news anchor who does a lot of our copywriting. So, hi to Simona. She said, just read them out when it happens. I'm like, okay. Well, I read them early, and it's hilarious because the first question is amazing. Do you feel intimidated by how cool your kids are?
Oh, no, not anywhere, shape, or form. And both my sons will tell you that when they were at the college going to school, all their friends were like, your dad's so cool. And they were always like, no, my dad's really mean.
And they referred to you as dad.
Yeah, they did
Some
refer
still
to me
do
as dad.
to this day.
Now I'm more like in lines with being grandpa, but they did refer to me as dad. And a lot of them still do.
Yes.
And I used to get probably the best one is the boys would say, Dad, it's really creepy that like this really attractive young woman is calling you dad. That means, I'd be like dating my sister. And I'm like, well, first of all, she's out of your league. Second,
very true.
Secondly, it's really not my daughter.
Yeah. No, see, Justin, do you see where the humor comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You're going to notice a lot
really
of similarities in mannerisms and things like that during this podcast. It's already bad enough that Grant and I sound so similar.
If you want to come to wherever I'm working, you want to go to school, you can call me dad, so that's fine.
Justin really wants to go to school for like additive manufacturing and engineering, of which St. Leo does not have programs for either.
They have engineering.
Not a major though.
I think it is a major now, isn't it?
Is it? No. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, Justin, I want to see you over at like Penn State. I got a buddy of mine who's going to be probably going back to school for that master's over at Penn State in
additive.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they have a really large AM
Justin,
program.
go to Michigan State.
Do they have an additive program?
Probably.
A lot of schools are doing it right now because it is the cool thing to have right now is an additive program.
I mean, if
I don't know,
engineering.
Justin would tend to disagree. He thinks having a BitClout account in his own cryptocurrency is the cool thing right now. Also NFTs. NFTs.
NFC is cool
not
too.
Near field communication is still cool, but a non-fungible, what is it?
Token?
Yeah. Fungible. What a weird word.
All right. Question number 2. What is your best dad joke?
All my jokes are dad jokes, which means none of them are really good. Probably the only one I can think of offhand is that because I have such long golden locks of hair, people would you get a haircut? And I'm like, no, I got them all cut. So that's probably the best dad joke, if that's a joke.
Cardstock Collector just threw out in our chat, what is an additive program? It's for additive manufacturing. That's like the cool way to say 3D printing. So there's two different types of manufacturing. There's additive and subtractive. That's correct, right? There isn't a third one that I don't know of.
There will be eventually,
like
but
solid, liquid, gas, and plasma.
Yeah, like it goes from the inside out or something. Like,
well, yeah, additive is where you add material to create something. So like 3D printing. Subtractive is where you remove material, and that's like CNC milling. Is laser cutting considered subtractive?
Yes.
Okay, because it is technically
you are
removing
burning stuff away. So you are removing material. So it is then considered subtractive. But yeah, additive manufacturing is John's right. It's just a fancy word for 3D printing. So don't worry about it.
Well, aren't there other things that are considered additive that are not 3D printing, or is it literally only the 3D printing scope?
Oh,
hybrid.
Eric's hanging out with us, so he's got it. Hybrid manufacturing.
I appreciate it.
Where you combine additive and subtractive, but
yeah, because I mean, like for a lot of the metal stuff, you have to be going back and doing the post-processing work, and a lot of times you're going and taking your metal part that you just 3D printed, and you're gonna go and take that into the CNC machine
and grind.
And it's gonna go
remove, make it smooth and pretty.
It's gonna go and make sure all the tolerances are like a machine shop, and not just a 3D printing tolerance, because you can get a little bit more fine, but it then takes away that big. That harder machining time that would have taken hours and hours, maybe it takes 45 minutes to just machine the extra little bit, not the entire part.
Right.
Yep. And that's valuable, right? Because, like Justin said, you can get real close. You don't have to bother too much with your accuracy, and let the CNC machine, which, good CNCs have been around for a long time, you can let the CNCs do their job, and just realistically, it works. So you get all the speed without any of the extra BS. He said you could consider most kinds of casting, molding, extrusion to be additive as well. And then you have forming processes like stamping, forging, etc. Yeah, that's... Damn it. So what... Yeah, I guess it would be additive. Yeah. Huh. Things you don't think of.
Yeah.
This is going to be the one I think my dad enjoys the most. What was your favorite way to embarrass your kids?
Public displays of affection with my wife.
Oh, that is a good one. Yes, that is a very good one.
I'm okay with it now. It was just weird when we were like
Justin's age.
13. Yeah. Oh, okay. So 12. No.
It's low-hanging fruit, man.
Yeah, sorry, Justin.
By the way...
And we would only do it just to embarrass you.
Oh, it's okay. I had like a
fully aware
45-minute roast session on the Friday call yesterday.
Oh, you were going to have a most worst roast session because you, sir, made the decision of putting your location out on the internet. And had that restaurant answered the phone the 2 times that we called them, you, sir, would have had a happy birthday song in the middle of your dinner. But they didn't answer their phone, and I am very upset about it. My phone was on speaker. Everybody on the call was... Oh, totally. Yeah. They didn't answer the phone.
Damn.
So Justin... I don't think my dad knows this, but Justin lives in L.A. And he put the restaurant where he was going out to dinner with his girlfriend out on social media. So I said, how funny would it be if we called them? And Matt's like, Grant, call them. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And of course they didn't answer. And their answering machine was full. So
they were so busy.
Yeah. You could have had them paged up to the front, to the hostess stand.
And so Jerry was like, if we all make enough Twitter accounts, set the geotag for that location, tell people there's going to be a flash mob, we could make something happen. And then all of us decided it wasn't worth the effort because we didn't know how long you were going to be there. And if we put in all of that effort and you weren't there, that would have been so... Rachel said she would have enjoyed that. Rachel happens to be your better half.
Yeah.
Justin, I can only tell you, as a parent, it's wonderful when you can embarrass your kids. And so, both my wife and I, our goal always was to embarrass them. And they used to say, oh, that's a chapter for our book. So we started to take off on, oh, let's add to the chapter. We want a good long book. We're going to make it like War and Peace. So we kept doing it. And to this day, I mean, they're old and, young men, and we can still embarrass them.
Every once in a while.
I mean, yeah, but what other fun is there? I'm now a personality on the internet. You want all the ammo you need to make fun of me? Just pick a random video and make fun of me for it. It's not difficult
hard
anymore.
We just need to scroll through the Discord channels that we have and the memes that we end up making.
Oh yeah, see, those are private memes where you all make fun of the dumb things that I do that we edit out of the video.
But they don't have to be
but I
private if you
Photoshop
join
your
the
face onto
upcoming
Thomas.
Patreon.
Oh no, that's right.
We have to plug the upcoming Patreon, Justin.
It
They
will
don't
be on the
have to be
Patreon.
private memes if you want to sign up for our Patreon and come hang out with us daily and listen to all the BS that Grant makes us put up with.
Can we just make a meme, like a randomized meme maker of Grant? Like it's just like a banner on the website.
I didn't consider the fact that they would have access to all those stickers that we've created. That's hilarious and amazing and a great reason for people to join our Discord.
We need to add it.
And all your viewers, and you get great reviews on Grant rants.
It's true.
And I'm
the 3D
as
printing
a
community
parent, that's
loves
just
the
been
Grant
a fact
rants.
of life. Whether it be a Grant rant or a Jonathan rant, it was just a twin rant.
Well, the Grant rant.
Well, one didn't do, the other did, and
well, yeah.
Mine have like 7,000 views each, so
other,
I think I win this. I'm pretty sure I won the ultimate rant in the family because mine actually have people that like watching them.
Well, and it rhymes.
That's fair.
That's true. It does rhyme.
Grant rant rhymes.
There is a thing to that. What was your initial reaction when you found out you were having twins? And you can be. This is a no holds barred. So if there's some cussing in there, go for it.
The response to this is resin is toxic.
Yeah, no, and it's again, it's one of those things that you sort of get asked a lot. It's probably the biggest question you got asked a lot was when I would walk through the mall with the boys in the stroller when they were babies, and people would go, "Are they twins?" And I'm like, no, go to the glasses place because obviously you're seeing double or something. I mean, again, they're two infants dressed alike. What do you think they are? I would say, oh no, they're quadruplets. Grandma and grandpa have the other two. But the best is that when we found out, back in the day, you didn't have a lot of technology like you have now. So you basically relied on ultrasound, and back then it sort of looked like a dead TV screen, or when your cable goes out. So the doctor, we had a few ultrasounds before. It was about month 4 or 5, and doctor goes, this has never happened to me before. And we're like, what are you talking
That's something you
about?
want to hear during
And
ultrasound.
He does the wand and he goes, see that? And I go, I guess, yeah. And he goes, and see this? And I go, okay, what's that mean? He goes, twins. And my initial response was, keep looking. I think my wife broke down in tears of happiness. I mean,
Sure.
and the nurse looked at me and said, you don't look happy. And I said, you just told me I'm going to be broke for the rest of my life. How do you think I feel? And then nobody believed us. We told our right afterwards, we told our family and friends and everything. And they were like, yeah, right. Sure. And
because
we're
that's
like,
the joke,
really?
Right? That's the joke.
Yeah. So the joke really is that we were having twins, even though we had been joking that, oh yeah, we're gonna have twins. But no, we were blessed, and it was a great experience. We're glad it's over.
Did you confuse Grant and Jonathan when they were growing up? And if so, how did you tell them apart? Or I guess in general, how did you tell them apart?
Yeah, we put, one of the things that we did was Grant was always dressed in gray or green, so the G, and Jonathan was always in blue for Blue Jay. But did we get them mixed up? Oh, I'm sure they were mixed up, and I couldn't even verify under oath whether Grant really is Grant or perhaps he's really Jonathan, and Grant, is the one in front of the fish tank. But we do know that they're both our sons, so that was the most important thing. We kept their ID bracelets on as long as we could, but they went from a little over 5 pounds to about 15 pounds like overnight. So we had to cut those off, and then we just went with the flow.
See, I've always told people this story and they don't believe it. They're like, I could be John. There's no way to know. They're like, how do you not know? I'm like,
names are just a social construct.
You're not wrong there. So you had that initial surprise of, oh, well, this is a thing, I guess, of twins. How did you prepare for having twins when you found out that you were having twins? Like, what was that preparation like?
Yeah, again, luckily I love to read and do a lot of research, and Justin, this was before the internet, so you just couldn't go online. I couldn't, Instagram or chat or hang out or FaceTime with somebody. So, you went to the library, you got some books, you started to read, and then you listen to everybody's advice, and you threw most of that away because all of them had only had one at a time. And the good news is this, Grant and Jonathan were our first children, so we really didn't know any better. So a lot of it was trial and error. And, I figured I had an heir and a spare, and if we screwed up on one, I had another one.
Now, which is which, it all just depends on the day, honestly, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't wait till the internet came around because, I'm affectionionally known as Mr. Alta Vista. So I'm able to,
God, what a story.
We were able to do web searches back then on that site.
Justin, do you even know what Alta Vista is or was?
Nope.
So Alta Vista was like the search engine before Google.
Yeah, it was before Google, and it was before color monitors.
It predates really all of that.
Because, everybody had green monitors.
Yep.
So it was a black monitor with green text.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the first amber colored, shout out to Amber Graham,
Hi, Amber.
an amber color monitor that the lettering was sort of orange. It was amber. And that was high tech. But it was like search engines.
Yahoo bought Alta Vista. It goes to search.yahoo.com/Alta Vista.
You actually tried the website?
I'm hurt.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. You throw the advice away even if you're only having one, Allison says. And Ask Jeeves is the other
Yes.
search engine.
Oh, my
Ask
gosh.
Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
Well, tell Allison. Tell Allison I absolutely agree.
You're telling Allison right now.
Having kids and when the time is right, and if people, or who are in relationships want to have kids, or out of relationships if you want to have children, that's great and everything else. I would tell you that dogs and cats are much more loyal and less expensive.
Unless they eat needles. Victoria.
Yeah, there was that. And then I
Though,
had
to be
remember
fair, if a child ate a needle, it would be significantly more
But
expensive.
see, you have to preface the fact that this was a sewing needle, and the cat was playing with the string, and none of us knew there was a sewing needle attached to it until we saw her swallow it. Thank God for nonprofit veterinary offices, and I will give a shout out to Planned Pethood here in Zephyr Hills, Florida, which I will say still the best name for veterinary office, period.
Absolute best name.
And it was less than $400 out the door. They were awesome. But I will never forget.
They've been awesome with all of our animals.
I will never forget. It was the first time that we brought Victoria there, and we have a family credit card. My dad's like, "Oh yeah, just it's my granddaughter's. Just charge it to the family card." And my mother calls me and says, "I don't know what you're doing." I'm like, "Mom, look at that one more time." She's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know how to breach the subject. I thought you were going to Planned Parenthood. I didn't know what to do here. I thought we had this talk before." No, it's Planned Pethood. Kind of similar, the same thing, but way more just rip it all out instead of dealing with it, right? No, but they're awesome there, and like the fancy vets around here would have charged like $2,000. So yeah, $400.
Even the nonprofit ones around here are very expensive. Like the
You're in LA,
that's a
everything's
prereq
expensive.
for California.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, Justin, to give you an idea, the tech comes out and says, "Okay, we're going to do a few x-rays." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's a needle. It's ferrous. If you take one x-ray and don't see it, give me the cat back. I'm going home. Means it's gone." "Well, what do you mean?" I said, it's a metal needle. It is going to show up perfectly on an x-ray." I said, take an x-ray of the side of the cat. If you don't see the needle, give me the cat back." I said, "Oh, okay." He says, "You were right." Friggin' needle like this big inside the cat. Cut her open. They give me the needle and the string back in a little Ziploc bag. So
No, it's in a jar. Isn't it in a jar here somewhere?
no, it's in a plastic bag. I know exactly where it is. It's
and we have. I found the CD for it the other day.
Yep.
The CD with the X-rays on it.
Yeah, we'll have to put it up as part of one of the new sets and have that up there with "This is why we can't
I actually have a
these
CD
things."
drive. I was like, I don't think any of us have a CD drive. I have one.
I have one.
That's a
Old-
thing you have to think
Old
about.
computers.
CD
Mine's not plugged in. Mine. I
I
open.
it laying around.
Justin, you'll find this funny. When I built my computer, I think it was 2014, 2015-ish. We were at Micro Center because the 6-hour or 8-hour drive up to Micro Center is worth it, especially since our mother lived around the corner at that time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a Blu-ray burner because it's totally going to be useful.
Justin, Eric's over here laying down the shade. Is Justin even old enough to know what a CD drive is?
How about a floppy disk drive?
Oh, he doesn't know.
Yeah, Justin, how big is a floppy disk?
3.5 inches.
No, sir, it's 5 1/4. Get out.
5 1/4.
There are two different ones.
You're-
The
different
original was
ones.
5 and
And
a
then
half.
there's the
the
big
original
ones,
was
too.
actually floppy.
Or then there's the really, really big ones too.
Yeah, that's why the 5 1/4 bays, the 5 1/4 form factor exists because of the 5 1/4 floppy.
See? The more you know. It's all about coming here and getting some knowledge.
You know, Justin, and I would tell you that sort of like everything else, they'll probably come back. It's like records.
Yeah.
Vinyl records.
Yeah.
I do have
So-
your entire vinyl record collection here. That is true, yes. Which is a problem because you and I have basically the exact same taste in music. So I have like copies of everything now. Although I do have a lot of Luther Vandross now, which I didn't have any of, so very, very happy about that. But it has been a long time since I've actually sat down and listened to music because, good lord,
It's been a long time.
it is so much effort. I don't even listen to digital. Yeah, I listen to podcasts, like the Making Awesome podcast.
Which you should watch on all your favorite music streaming services.
I actually don't listen to my own podcast.
Yeah, that'd be
other than-
really narcissistic. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There actually was an article last week about why people don't like to listen to their own voices.
My
Yeah,
mother is
you-
live texting me from. I think
Same.
she's watching the podcast
Same.
right now. Okay.
Yes.
I'm
in
getting
the other
live
room.
messages right now. I guess Sam did the needle thing as well.
Yes, we had a
Okay.
dog that did a needle thing too,
Wow.
and the thread was hanging out of his mouth, and we could see the needle way back in his throat. And the vet literally went in with a pair of needle-nose pliers and yanked it out.
See, the cat swallowed the string.
Different
first.
times.
The cat swallowed. But that dog was so much bigger too.
Yeah. I mean, compared to Victoria?
Oh, maybe not.
No, he was bigger.
Victoria
bigger.
is a little chunky, but that's okay.
Yeah, the weird thing, and back to the hearing your own voice thing, the weird thing about it is you think of how you sound, and it truly is how you sound. But you end up with, even with a good microphone, like Grant and I are using ostensibly pretty good microphones. I don't know what microphone. Justin, you're using the same mic as us, aren't you?
Fine.
Okay. It comes down to that what you're hearing is not the full range of what your voice actually can produce. It's what the microphone that you're using can pick up. It's really weird. It's why most podcasts use the Shure. I'm going to get into microphone talk for a second. It's why most podcasts use the Shure SM7B, because it's very boomy.
Yeah.
It has a lot of lower end, which you don't normally get from other microphones. It's really hard to get, and it's why that SM7B, which is that big black microphone that hangs from the top of a microphone stand instead of one like ours where it kind of just sticks on the microphone stand. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the Shure's like a $300 mic. So if you want to sound like Joe Rogan, just get that.
Yeah, it's funny because Eric and I were talking mics the other day, because they're going to be doing some YouTube stuff with his company, which I do need to shout out, but I didn't listen to the recording, and it's a very difficult name to pronounce, so maybe we'll try to butcher it. Huh?
3D Verkstan?
Verkstan? Sure, we'll go with it. Yeah. He'll correct me in the comments if we're not right, but no, we're gonna be doing a follow-up series on Cura, because apparently Cura does have a dark mode, and you can't enable it during the installation. I didn't dig deep enough to find it, so I think doing little mini series on each of the slicers and to really dive deep into some of their settings might be fun, and it's more content that's considerably easier to film than like actual maker videos. Maker videos take a lot of effort to film. Like, I still have to do the soldering video, but to do that, I gotta have the top-down set ready, gotta have lighting for it, and all the stuff. So there's a lot of prerequisites to do it right, whereas more of these seated content, where I'm only in a reasonable amount of pain to sit here, is a lot easier because this is already done, right? We worked on this for like 3 or 4 months till we got it right, and when we were reasonably happy with it. But I've got some more cameras coming, like the same ones as this, so it's gonna be fun.
Something else I want to like just say generally, if we make a mistake in the videos, let us know.
That's why I love Eric.
We appreciate constructive criticism, not you just being a jerk.
Like the guy on the Prusa video that was so rude.
You know who you are.
Remove the comment. I did not remove it. I can still see it in the YouTube app, but I cannot see it anywhere else.
Yeah, none of us can see it.
Like I read that comment and was like, who hurt this guy before he left this comment?
So yeah. I didn't know Simona was watching the podcast. Simona's actually watching the podcast. We actually have a question. It's a long distance question, coming all the way from the United Kingdom.
What is no. What's the Casey Kasem line?
Long distance dedication?
Yeah.
But that's not what this is.
Justin, do you know who Casey Kasem is? Was?
Oh. Justin, I'm coming out to California. We need to spend some quality time together. Okay, Ryan Seacrest, who does like the top 40 hits.
Yes.
Well, he's the Kasem of your day.
Got it.
Wait, Allison just said who? Casey Kasem, the radio DJ.
Yeah, but not in Allison's from the UK, correct?
Dude, Casey Kasem was worldwide.
Wasn't he also the voice of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or it was Scooby. I didn't know if it was Shaggy
no, it was
or
Shaggy.
Scooby.
It was
okay.
Shaggy.
But yeah, so we have a question from Allison. She said, "What did your dad think you'd both end up doing with your lives?" Now this is not a question I don't know if I want him to answer, but here we are. Let's go for it.
Hilariously, I've come full circle.
Allison asked that question?
Yes.
Yeah, so Allison, I think any parent would say that you hope that no matter what they do, they're happy doing it. Both my wife and I's hope were that they would get off our payroll. But I think early on, we knew from their negotiating skills that they would either be great salespeople, they would be wonderful attorneys because they would argue everything. But, you know, honestly, as they got older and they matured, you could see their individual talents going in, I would say parallel directions, but not
adjacent.
Similar. Both, you know, really loved computers and technology and all those types of things. But Jonathan is just masterful in terms of his ability to work with computers and, as importantly, work with users. And so,
which is definitely the harder part.
What's that? Which
users
is
are definitely the harder part.
Especially you get a user like me that has enough information about computers to be really dangerous. So that came on pretty early on. With Grant, he was well into being much more in the marketing field, and he got really involved very quickly with the 3D printing business as it exploded. And his, you know, my wife and I sort of sit back and watch both our boys and take a lot of pride in that they're very accomplished in what they've done. I think what we take our most pride in is their what I affectionately call they're just good human beings. They're good guys. They treat people respectfully. They're honest to a fault. You know, so even like I'll say, oh, so what do you think about these shoes?
I don't know how many hundreds this one's going to cost me, but he's saying a lot of nice things here.
Yeah.
You're racking up a lot of nice words here.
Damn it.
We agreed to $1 a nice word, okay?
How do you have hundreds and you're living rent free?
I'll zell you money after this.
This is I sold one of our CNC machines, and so I haven't deposited the money for it yet, so I just happen to have the cash in front of me.
I've been bugging Mom, which is why I've been so quiet. So one of the things, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. So these were the flags from our first birthday and have been used ever since. I think it's so funny because, and I'll actually say this because I normally don't talk about it. Those are fire trucks. I now technically work for Hillsborough County, but I support fire rescue. So I thought it was really funny that it's like come full circle now 30 years later, even though those showed up at every birthday. I want to
every single birthday they've been there, Justin.
Every single birthday.
And if we're not there, our mother will send us a picture of them every year. It's hilarious.
I think it's funny that it's come full circle that firefighting stuff at age 1. At 30, I joined Hillsborough County supporting public safety, which includes fire rescue.
But you know, Dad, you were
and Grant Jonathan have a huge fire pit outside of their house, so you know it's come full circle.
Yeah, we haven't burned anything down with it yet, which is
I'm surprised.
Really, that's the biggest surprise.
Whoa!
It does need to be empty.
Just in their defense, I was a fireman for a while, so they learned very quickly that if they do have any types of flammable things, they have to have hoses and fire extinguishers and everything nearby.
Yeah.
See, yeah. So there. Well, that was cool. Oh, Allison's better half or other half said you don't know who that is. I'm guessing that's regarding Casey Kasem.
That was regarding Casey Kasem, yes.
Yeah. So I
feel vindicated right now. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Like you're like she would know. Like Casey Kasem was like, I don't know, pick some famous famous Instagram or TikTok person now. That was Casey Kasem, man.
Yes, but she's in the UK, so America's top 40 doesn't matter.
Sure it did, because the Beatles were always on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
To be fair, most really, really good music came out of that side of the world, not us.
Well, most good music came around when Casey Kasem was still alive. Okay, maybe that's what's happened. Casey Kasem's death has caused the downturn in popular music, because I swear, if all of a sudden
Justin's generation has caused that.
Because I swear, if we look back and we reminisce One Direction the same way that we reminisce Earth, Wind, and Fire and Luther Vandross and Stevie Wonder, I that's it. I'm giving up on this world.
One Direction.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry for your incorrect opinion.
No, you know what? Well, you know why he likes One Direction, right? Because as you age, you do lose some of your hearing. So his hearing has just gotten to a point where it doesn't matter anymore.
Ooh, hold on. I gotta go get my fire shirt. He needs to go to the burn war.
I'm sorry. It was a low-hanging fruit. I had to go for it.
I didn't know where it was going. I'm glad.
Well, with your back, that's all the fruit you can pick.
Oh, he came back with the cross. I didn't see it coming. That was, yeah. No, that's on point. I'll point to Gryffindor for that one. Yep.
I think it's so strange, like looking back on like culture and how it's changed and progressed. And I mean, even like go to like, I don't know, 1950s versus 1970s music. They are polarizingly different. It's so unusual. Like it's one of the things that like really explains generations.
But I was going to say, similar to what you all do with 3D printing, I mean, technology has played such an important role.
That's fair.
In changing the lives and society. Music is just one of those. I mean, even if you think from, just early vinyl to then 8-track tapes to then cassettes and then to CDs and
we were
back to vinyl.
We were talking about quadraphonic stereos in cars at work.
But vintage stereo equipment to new, surround sound wireless systems. I mean, it's all about technology. And unfortunately for some things, like the ability to play musical instruments and some creative pieces, you have to do that now electronically. It doesn't resonate and get the full sound, even with my limited hearing at my, old age.
Well, you
that I think that the older true musical instruments received, it was a fuller type of sound. Again, that will continue to evolve and change. And, people have to be creative to be able to do that. And even just to design, 3D parts, like you design 3D parts. And I watched some of the podcasts and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know you knew how to do that.
I really don't. I kind of learn as I go. And that's why guys like Justin and Tad and Alan all are around, because they support me where I'm not very good. But I will say,
wait, so who's doing all the 3D designing then?
Ooh. Not you, clearly.
No, not me. That's why that's why I have you.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, if there's a problem with my computer, Jonathan's the first call.
So
of course, it's always like, did you turn it off and turn it back on? And it seems to fix, and then he's the hero. So,
Allison,
but I don't typically follow Waze when it tells me to get off the exit too, and then I'm stuck in traffic. No matter how many times it tells me to do that. And I go, oh, yeah, it's not going to be that bad. And then I'm like, it just happened to me. And I texted the boys from a dead, standstill on the highway.
Our superior overlords being Google know better than we do. Allison, I think Allison probably grew up around the same time you did, Dad. She said, I'm the only age group that childhood was totally analog and my adult life was totally digital. I guess you were still kind of in that transitionary period when you were around Justin's age and getting toward our age. But I will say, I think a lot of the reason that you enjoyed music so much when you were around our age is you had literally the best speakers ever made, the ESS AMT-1Bs. And for all you audiophiles out there, yes, my father actually had a pair of those. And my brother and I did destroy the passive radiators a couple of times when we were kids. Sorry about that, Dad.
Weird thing, they remade
it was the cheapest part on the speaker to repair.
It is true. And yes,
then you literally parted them out and put the cabinets on to get picked up by the garbage man.
Allison. Allison told us her age, but she's not a day over 21, as my mother has told me. Ladies, stop aging after 21.
Again, Allison, maybe my lighting is good, but I'm an old guy, and so again, from the standpoint of being able to watch and see the developments and see some things change in this world has been an amazing journey. To see other things stay the same or even regress is regretful. And I'm hopeful only because I look even on the screen and we have, folks in their 30s and those who are still, teenagers, but, there's a lot of hope moving forward. And I've worked with college students for 40 plus years, and that's why I do it. And hopefully that's what keeps me young. But part of that is because, we've got to, as a world, take better care of the place, and each other, and do things that are productive, and that, believe it or not, the almighty dollar isn't always the bottom line. And so it gives me great resolve, especially with my own, and I still call them children. They're not, they're young men, but with my own kids that, they've done things, like even recently through the pandemic where, they were making face shields for first responders and for our medical personnel, versus, a few years ago, you guys 3D printed the little adapter on the drill for me to put my hurricane shutters up and down, and then went through the whole neighborhood and gave them to all the neighbors in our subdivision. Yep. So, it's things like that provide hope. And I know that great things are going to occur, but, again, I think that, there's technology that's happening that I think is wonderful. On the other hand, I wish that some of the things, even like we're doing today, were in person, and they weren't. Zoom's better than the phone. I can tell you that much. At least you can see who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But, one of the big jokes of my boys growing up was they would say, well, my friend told me this, and I used to always stop and say, okay, now, is this a person you've actually met in person and seen their face, or is this just somebody from online? And a lot of times it was online. Or they'd have friends over and they'd be doing homework, and I'd go into our big study area, and I'm like, what are you all doing? And they're literally in the same room texting each other. And I'm like, all you could do is talk to the person. So,
too much work.
There's good and bad when it comes to technology.
I should hire Allison as a writer. Does your dad think that we will ever have any greater innovations than we've already experienced?
Oh, I would absolutely hope so.
That's a good answer.
I'd be pretty confident that absolutely we will. And again, when you think, I can go back, pre-internet, pre all this. The first calculator that I ever owned, I was a full-time employee, and my employer bought it for me. It was over $300, and all it did was add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And it was the greatest thing in the world. Now you can get a scientific calculator like free. They're typically
app on your phone.
Yeah, they're on your phone now.
Oh, that's true. I could just use my phone too, but that's not free. Oh, that's right. Your guys' phones are free, aren't they?
They were paid off.
By whom? You shouldn't have put me on. You shouldn't have put me on the podcast.
That is fair. We have that family
that's technical.
Plan.
Yeah,
that's true.
We got half off.
That's true.
I did find a really good deal.
Justin, if you can't tell.
See, now you can't be mad at me when I bust everybody's chops in our company Discord, because that's literally what I've been trained to do my entire damn life.
Yeah.
No,
know what? Seriously, the greatest thing in life for parents, and at least for my wife and I, we honestly say, we and again, don't put the money up. we couldn't be any prouder of our kids. We say that behind their backs, let alone to their face. And unfortunately, sometimes, Justin, parents don't say it enough to their face. And so always understand this. And I used to always tell them when they were college students, because typically some of their friends, or I'd get a call in the middle of the night, Dad, we need you to come as dad, not as the associate vice president, because somebody, had drunk too much or something and they just didn't know what to do and they needed my help. But the bottom line is, parents will always love you. Doesn't mean they can't be disappointed. Every now and then you can do something that they disappoint.
I'd rather you be mad
like,
than disappointed.
Really? You did that? You did what with my car? The big thing to understand is it doesn't diminish the love, and so the love's always there. And again, my wife and I, we're so proud of our boys, and a lot of times the big joke, and maybe the dad joke, back to that initial or second question, was people used to always tell us, and still do, what great sons we have, because they do give of themselves all the time, whether it's neighbors in their neighborhood or in my neighborhood or whatever. And Grant geeks out with a guy in my neighborhood that's taken a 3-car garage and turned it into an entire wood shop.
His whole life just lit
CNC
up as soon as I started
everything.
talking about things. It was so beautiful to watch this
And they
man
geek out.
who ostensibly has only ever had people come over and say, "That's cool." And be like, "Are those SBR 12s or SBR 16s?" He's like, "They're SBR 16s." I'm like, "Hell yeah, they are." Did you put a ball screw on your Z axes? And I got ball screws on all the axes. I'm like, God, we're friends now. Did we just become best friends? Right? The movie quote. Yeah, that was fun. And I wanted to go back to the Hurricane Irma things. I think I covered it once in a video, but people that don't know the story don't understand. So newer homes in Florida are built with
I don't have it.
hurricane shutters, but you have to, some of them are automatic, where you just push a button and they all kind of go down to cover your windows, but a lot of them are manual, and they all use wing nuts. Well, there's no easy way to automate screwing in a wing nut, and if you have to up armor a house by putting hurricane shutters on it, and you have a hurricane coming at you, time is of the essence. And Irma, 24 hours before landfall, made a hard turn right into Florida. None of us thought it was coming toward us.
No, wasn't Irma the Cat 5?
No, Irma was a Cat 4, Cat 3.
No, I'm pretty sure. Hold on,
It was a big ass storm.
It's a big ass storm. Yeah, I'm fine with that. A big ass storm, and
Cat 5.
It was a
first Cat 5 to strike.
Was a big
pretty
ass
much
storm.
anywhere.
It was a big ass storm, and
it was a Cat 5.
I said, all right, let's have Almighty Bezos come and clutch for us, and it was 1 to 2 months wait to get the tool to do it. I said, I have a 3D printing business. I've got my solution right here. So we quickly designed something out, and we printed, I think it was 32 on our Taz 6 overnight, I think is what it was. Drove them down and put them in everybody. And so I told my dad, put it in your community Facebook groups. We're going to pass them out to everybody. People that don't answer their doors, I'm going to put them in their mailboxes, because eventually you got to take the shutters down too. And it's just as difficult. And the first half of the house took us something like 3 or 4 hours, and the other half of the house took us like an hour because of the tool. You just set your drill clutch really, really low, and you can zap them in. It made that whole process so much easier. And that was, to me, when I finally saw the first hardcore valid point of 3D printing being more than just printing tchotchke stuff. And the cool stuff we've done for the Smithsonian is cool, but it didn't serve a greater good purpose for mankind. And that, to me, served a greater good purpose for that community. And that's what made it all worth it. I just gave them away because.
And you just did a bracket for me. I think you did it on a time lapse.
Yeah, it was the whole thing. We did it on the time lapse, and it was a live stream.
And I've replaced 6 lights that had been laying on the ground. I had to buy new lights. I couldn't just buy the bracket.
Now,
and so again, it worked. They work great.
Yeah.
So all right, I want to interject with a little tidbit of information on those who do not know about hurricanes or what the absolute sheer power of Hurricane Irma was. Hurricane Irma was 2017, right around September. For the year 2017, the whole year, Hurricane Irma was the most searched topic from September onward. But this includes the whole year. So nothing else that happened before that hurricane hit was more searched. Additionally, it set a record for the most amount of Floridians ever evacuated from an area, and to the point of, now we have not great roads, but the congestion was so bad that an order was made by the governor to allow cars to drive on the medians, in the shoulders. They're like, just go, figure it out and go. All you lifted truck boys, take the grass. Like, 6.5 million Floridians evacuated, the largest evacuation in Florida's history.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It was no joke. It's like earthquakes in California. You're like, oh, there's a little tremor, we don't care. Florida, if it's under a category 3, we're just like, oh, people are going to get off work and we're going to have some tree limbs to clean up. We will rebuild. But category 3 and above, things get a little more serious. And Irma at a 5, everyone was imagining or seeing Hurricane Andrew in Miami again. They were seeing what Floyd almost did when it came, 50 miles off the coast of Daytona and destroyed the pier, when it wasn't even a direct impact.
I think even for us, the remembrance of Charlie, Francis, and Jean. I mean, we lived in a community where literally we were without power for 12 days because of 3 storms that came through in about a 2-week period or 2.5-week period.
Yeah. Florida's got its
Although
own.
It was probably longer. It was probably longer than that. And Jonathan will look it up.
I'm still reading the stats on Irma. It is insanity. The amount, like, oh my god.
And it wasn't like Katrina level disaster, right?
No, it's not a fair comparison. It's not a fair comparison.
Yeah, no, Katrina.
But I mean, we're talking $77 billion. Like, yeah.
Although I don't know that for sure. I'm just using my keyboard, my keyboard knowledge here.
Irma was the 4th costliest tropical cyclone on record.
See, there
it was the costliest in Cuba and the Leeward in the Leeward Islands.
And so we've learned some tidbits of information from our dad. But Dad, what was the most important lesson that you learned from your father that you'd like to pass on to not just us, but everybody out there in the internet that is listening or watching to this right now?
Turn out the lights.
Don't touch the thermostat.
Out of all the things, that's the one you go with.
As Grant and I are literally using 4 lights for this video production.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I'm talking about the actual video lights.
Oh yeah, I have 3.
I have 4. Yeah, okay.
No. Okay, but like, is that the one you want to go with? Turn out the lights.
That's the one I want to go with. It's really funny because, again, pre-sticky notes. We didn't have sticky notes back then either, Justin. So growing up, taped to every light switch every light switch in my house was turn out the lights. So I am pretty neurotic about turning the lights out. Throughout the house. But now really, probably the biggest piece of advice or role modeling that my dad, and it was my stepfather, raised me from the time I was 12. And that was their pop. Probably the biggest lesson that he taught me and that I try to instill in my children was that if you think I'm a bad dad and I'm a mean dad, I'll be a horrible grandparent. So practice safer sex.
And that's what we go with. Apparently there's Allison mentioned it's like Blackpool Illuminations in there. I have no clue what she's talking about, but I had to look up some sort of lantern festival. But I did check to see when sticky notes hit the markets. I'm like, there's no way. Yeah, April 6th, 1980. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, Dad did grow up without sticky notes. I just didn't know if that was a thing that they just didn't have.
1980, I was in college.
Yeah. You got married pretty soon after
Actually,
that, right?
I just graduated college and was going into my master's program.
Yeah, because you got married in 86?
Five.
That was close. That's close. See? Not too bad. Yeah, I have no idea what Blackpool Illuminations are, but it's...
Because it's like...
It's an annual lights festival founded in 1879. Yeah. It looks cool, though. Oh,
it's actually... I didn't know it was a whole town.
Yeah, it's a thing in the UK, apparently. Well, of course that's why I don't know it. They don't teach us all about the world in Florida.
Yeah, let's be real. The American school system teaches you what they want.
I will say the American collegiate system is considerably better.
So much better.
Like, just the knowledge that we got from St. Leo, I don't know. I would definitely be a worse business owner. And yes, Justin, that is possible. I'll say it before any of you jackasses can get it out. I'll do self-deprecating humor. Okay, so apparently it's a common phrase here when you leave all the lights on, that it's a Blackpool illumination. So see,
okay.
Now I'm gonna add that into one of our videos. But you know, the 6 years at St. Leo, huh?
Like the scissors.
Yes, like the scissors. Yeah, the 6 years at St. Leo was awesome, right? I kind of had a business partner that I met through St. Leo that didn't work out. Now, I got to learn more about the areas of business. I think really the most important thing that it taught me is where I need help and understanding the right ways to get that help. So, like, I knew I am not doing accounting. I barely passed that class. So let me find an accountant that I can work with that happened to be a St. Leo alum, and this is the easiest money I spend every single month is paying that accountant, because it makes sure that our books are above board and dumb things don't happen, and he helps me find, you know, nice ways to play, if you will. You know, and I think that's really where the American collegiate system works, and probably where the public school system somewhat fails. But I saw what of the Northeast states now requires
yeah, I saw that financial
independence.
Yeah, financial independence courses,
which is cool.
I thought that was a really good idea. I mean, it should have already been a thing, you know, forever, but you know, better late than never, right?
All right, so turn out the lights is going to be the most important lesson. I love that. I can imagine that happening.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Safe sex.
Safer sex.
Okay, safe sex too. Yeah, that's I forgot that at the end there. Yeah, you're right. That's probably more.
Oh, sorry. Somebody in high school is on no sex.
Oh, that's right. Yes, abstinence, because that's historically worked.
Oh. Shout out all you Bible Belt states.
But yes.
No, but you know, again, I think that even when you're talking about, you know, it should be about respect. It should be about being good human beings. It's not always who's the smartest in the room, who has the wittiest comment in the room. You know, the adage, you know, nice guys finish last, and it's nice guys or girls. It should be, I mean, or trans or whatever you want to add in there. You know, society and the world needs more compassion and much more patience. Patience is a great skill to learn.
It's a tough skill to learn.
It is, you know, it should be right up there with financial management and time management, everything else. Patience, being able to keep the stress down to a minimum so you don't end up old and bald and gray and
I think you're jealous of all this long hair here.
I saw a bunch of gray in there.
There was so much gray in your hair.
There's a lot of gray.
Whoa, I will admit it, man.
I can't see it. It's on the back of my head. All right. And remember, to all of you that are wondering why my hair is so long, I am growing it out until my back is resolved. And then we are going to do a charity live stream where the top donor will get to choose what is shaved into my head. And the number 2 donor gets to choose what color, with an S in parentheses, my hair is. And I will film at least one channel video. Yes, I'm stealing your idea, Dad.
No, I'm putting it out there on this podcast. I really think at this point, first of all, number 1, you need to get your back.
Well, yes,
working.
I know that.
But number 2, that now you grow it long enough so you can do it to donate to Locks of Love.
Well, yeah.
Also, little side note, to help Grant get his back better, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and when the Patreon decides that it's going to come out, there'll be a tier that will be the Help Grant Back tier. Patreon allows up to $15,000 a month. That's going to be that tier, baby, because the stuff we really want to do, we can't afford.
Well, I do have some interesting procedures coming up where they have to put me on a human rotisserie to get the contrast inside of my spinal cord, my spinal column, evenly distributed. So that I'm hoping that they let me film it, because if they do, I'm going to turn it into like a vlog style video of me going to the doctor and the weird stuff I have to go through.
Hi, this is Grant. We're testing my back.
But no.
Oh, here I come again.
But if it is long enough to go Locks of Love, we're going to. I think we're at maybe like 5.5, 6 inches at this point, maybe. But if it's not long enough, and we'll do a YouTube poll or something once the back is fixed and what we do. I'll grow it out. I don't really care. Yeah.
We'll have a Patreon tier where you can buy portions of Grant's hair.
Yeah, Cardstock Collector said, I took a look at your website. I was very impressed by the pic of the president. That is me, but that is 6 years ago.
What?
Right?
Wait, what picture?
What are you talking about?
I gotta go to my own...
on the About Us page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Grant.
Yeah, that's me from like 5 or 6 years ago.
Many years ago.
Yeah, that's from a minute ago. Yeah. No, what you should be impressed about is our director of marketing and HR. That is the best photo of the best staff member this company will ever have.
I'm just saying there have been amazing photos of her that are just not on this website. Ooh, that's a good tier. If you all would like a daily Victoria picture as part of your Patreon subscription, let us know, because we'll create a tier that the cat is good enough. That the cat will take, because it's expensive to make sure that cat is loved and fed to the amount that she requires.
Demonetized. No, but it is. I guess it's interesting to. And I want to go back to the patience thing, because
yes,
I am in an industry where literally people pay to not have patience.
Real quick. When do y'all think that photo of Grant on our website is from?
I just said it was from like 5 or 6 years ago.
I have the exact date.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyone want to take a guess?
It's got to be from September of 2016.
No.
That's
Justin?
That's what I got.
I'm not sure.
Or 05.
I'm really not sure.
No, I was saying 5 years ago.
5 years? Yeah, so you have it on your Facebook as of January 14th of 2016. So my assumption is that it occurred a little bit before that.
So like 6 years?
Now, I know what this picture was for, and I don't know if we're going to talk about it,
but
for a
marketing
that places it right around the right time, because 16 was when the business existed, and that's how that entire relationship occurred. Right?
Yeah. No. Okay. So yeah, 2016. So it's 5 years old.
So early 2016.
Yeah. So I'm right. Yeah. 5, 6 years
September.
ago is what I said. So I am literally right there. It's about 5.5 years ago. Cardstock Collector says, not going back to that haircut. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, my assumption is it's going to be very, there's going to be nothing left by the time Brad is done. And by the way, Brad is going to be the one that dies and shaves my head because all the money is going to Make-A-Wish Foundation. And if you guys don't know, Brad is a Make-A-Wish recipient. You can check out his episode on episode 10, which we should probably, I think episode 52, we should have Brad on again and have him talk about it. Where now that we have a better handle on our audio, that it would sound a little bit better. But 52 is going to be a cool episode, and we are quickly coming up. This would have been much funnier if this was episode 42, but it's not. It's 41. Sorry. I should have thought of that ahead of time.
Well, no, the next podcast just gets to get the meme name, and this one gets to be the Father's Day special. It works out perfectly.
That's fair.
Oh,
And
52 is a year. That took me a second.
52 is, yeah.
You good
Yeah.
there? I know
That's okay. When we hit 26, Grant was the only one that was like, yeah, it's a big milestone. And we're like, it is. Grant, you're gonna have to explain that for the idiots in the room.
It's still early. It's still early for me. That's
It
why.
is. Yeah. What is it? 10:15 for you right now? Give or
Yeah.
take. Yeah. It's 1:15 here. Okay. And so the last question that Simona had is, what do you think is the best part about being a father?
It's a good question.
I was going to say not cutting my own grass, but that wouldn't be true.
You pay someone to do that now.
I know.
So is that still true though?
Well, I would know. You guys never cut the grass.
Well, yeah. Sean.
The best part about being a father is really, it gets better. For me, I feel it gets better and better as the boys have gotten older, only because we can have really honest conversations, and we share, again, like Grant was saying, we have similar music tastes, but so we share a lot of interest in it. It's just fun hanging out. We were over doing getting the sets ready last weekend. And
I really want to see what that video looks like.
It was the three of us. My wife was there. Amber was there with her uncle and brother. Thank God. Because it was instant muscle and instant I can climb anywhere.
It's true.
Y'all will see. Amber's uncle is built like a bear.
He is farmer.
His arms are like the size of my legs.
God.
And he's like
so.
6.
It was, but it was a lot of fun.
Is your Uncle Amber like 6'6"?
It was a lot of fun, and it was hard work, but it's more of sort of the hanging out and the ability. We'll go out to dinner. We don't see each other a lot. We'll text. I mean, we probably text on average 5 times a week, if not more.
I'm talking to Mom right now.
Yeah, so it's more of that. I think, again, as I'm contemplating, do I retire soon, and what's sort of that next chapter for me and for my wife, and will they watch the dog while we're gone, and those types of things if we go on vacation.
You wouldn't trust me. You wouldn't trust us with your favorite son.
my dad says the dog is his favorite son too.
Like I said, he behaves better than he at least listens to me, and if he doesn't, I'll put his shot collar on.
And see, if you do that to children, ladies and gentlemen,
boys, it doesn't even really faze him too much.
Yeah, he's also the most physically fit child
duct tape wouldn't take care of.
Huh?
But so I think in terms of the question, in all honesty, it's really more of the developing a relationship and having that relationship. And it doesn't mean that everything's all, rosy and hunky dory and, everything's perfect. It's we have I don't even think that they're arguments. We have disagreements about things, and, sometimes people's feelings get hurt and those types of things. And then we sort of kiss and make up and we move on to the next chapter. But I think it's really the ability, I would have always said, I remember when they were born and just sort of sitting there in amazement that I couldn't believe that my wife could actually grow a human being inside of her, let alone 2. And then, have her body sort of return back to normal after the time. but I think for both my wife and I, it's more of watching them grow and continue to mature into young men that are going to have an impact. Well, you're going to have an impact on the world, and I really believe that. And what they do and how they take pride in everything that they do, almost to a fault. And so sometimes good is okay. It doesn't always have to be perfect. Good is okay. And even just seeing them able to wrap themselves around sort of that concept as they get older and on in life, and that you really don't have to sweat the small stuff. And so, I would say to you, Justin, at your age, is that sometimes, I think that high school students, because again, I work in a college, so I deal all the time with high school students transitioning to college, but more importantly, I deal with their parents.
Which is the harder part, by the way.
And sometimes it's just don't sweat the small stuff, because a lot of time as parents, especially once kids are out of the house, all you hear is the negative. They don't call you and go, oh my God, this was the coolest thing that happened in work today. No, they call, oh my God, this print failed and it's due, tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I'm going to be up all night. Or
it doesn't sound like that's made up.
Yeah, that's not made up.
Now that we have 25 printers,
something happened with the computer system and it's going to be a long night in work. And then I get a call, hey, at 10 in the morning, hey, I'm on my way home. I got the day off today because I had to work all night. So, again,
that never happens.
Sometimes things happen. Don't sweat the small stuff. And honestly, it's really all small stuff. And I think that all too often, especially, and I know Allison's listening from, across the pond, especially for the United States, we have a culture of sweating the small stuff.
It's true.
Incredibly. Yeah.
And I'm telling you as an old guy, don't sweat the small stuff, because it really is, in the greater scheme of things, it is all small stuff. I grew up my entire life, because my dad died in his early 40s. He was 42. And I always grew up knowing that I was going to die in my 40s. And so I tried to pack a lot into, a short period of time. The good news, Justin, is I had a brother who was 11 years older than me. So I was like, ooh, he just made it to his 30s. Okay, I got to my 30s. Ooh, he just made it to his 40s. I got to my 40s. Then when he hit 50, it was like, uh-oh, now what? I've sort of geared everything for 40. And then he hit 60, and then I hit 60, and he was able to make it into his early 70s. So, again, I go, I'm 63. We haven't had a lot of longevity in the family on the male side. The women live forever.
Out of pure spite,
the men haven't lived long, but I've been, knock on wood, relatively healthy. And, so I go, okay, well, I'm 63. In the United States, we can basically retire 65. Don't really know if I want to do that, because there's some things in work that are still on my bucket list and my to-do list that I really want to do, and do some more building and expansion at St. Leo University. But there are some other things that, go, if I'm only going to make it another 7 to 10 years, I want to have some fun too. And so, again, I would just tell my own kids, I tell you, Justin, I tell kids in high school, below high school, it's all fun and games anyway, but just don't sweat the small stuff. It really is all small stuff. And, even as I don't know if you've been looking at college applications and all those types of things. And
I just started.
Just relax.
Yeah.
You don't have to get 400 acceptances. You only need one.
And quite literally, nobody cares where you went to school after your second job.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
If you went to the University of Michigan, I care. I am a Michigan State Spartan. True and true. Even though my doctorate, I have to give a shout out for my doctorate, because I got my doctorate at University of South Florida. So I am a bull. but that's why I can say go green all the
still
time.
Works.
Because USF Bulls are green and gold.
You know, I want to point out something because, you know, you said that there are still some things left on your professional bucket list, but you're actually your background, I think, is.
I was going to say this. I'm so glad you did.
Oh my God, I think you're twins.
It's maybe we're like next to each other in the same room or different
I can
rooms,
hear him right
whatever.
now.
Yeah, your door's still open, so I can hear you.
Yes.
But the story behind what is behind you, the fish tank, I think is still honestly the best I told you so that I've ever had in my life. Yep. And then two, probably one of the biggest lasting impacts that you have changed the way that collegiate systems look at student life. Can you talk about that?
Sure. You know, and again, it's you know, as a parent, it's great to be able to sort of laugh and enjoy each other. You know, but Justin, one of the responsibilities I have is I'm in charge of all student housing, and I've been working in student housing for 40 some odd years, and during the week, because it's much more convenient, I actually live in student housing. So, you know, I interact with students all the time, and as we were building housing, you know, I wanted to do some things that were really unique, and so. At the time, my nephew was working, he's a big exec in Google. And so I had been talking to him and he was telling me about the relaxation pods that they have. So I was able to make a deal and get relaxation pods that came to the university. And we set up the first standalone relaxation room for students on campus. And they're really cool. But what you see behind you is a 2-tiered fish tank where the water really cascades out the top of the front of that upper tank and into the bottom tank. So it is all one aquarium. And there's smaller fish up top. There's bigger fish down in the bottom. And at the time, reality show Tanked was really a big deal. And in one of its earlier seasons, and the boys and I used to always, Jonathan and Grant always had fish tanks, and I always had a fish tank when I was a college student, and loved fish, and maybe that's where we got our love for it, because it was just sort of ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And so we were talking one night. I said, "Yeah, I should get Tank to come in and do a fish tank in the lobby." And they're like, "Oh yeah, right, Dad."
No
sure.
way. No way it was gonna happen.
It's like there is absolutely no way.
Who cares about you and your little rinky-dink university and all this kind of stuff? And so I went back home and my wife and I were talking. I said, "Well, I'm gonna reach out to him and see what." And make a very long story short, we actually were on 2 different episodes of Tanked. Our original episode, and then we got included in the behind the scenes episode too, and just had an amazing experience. And the boys were involved in literally installing the fish tank and working with the crew. And if you can go online and download the episode, and you'll see us in it. And
I know I've seen this episode. I remember watching.
It's really their backs.
It's learn to love or love to learn. So you can see what we all looked like all those years ago when my dad carried a lot of extra weight and John and I carried a lot less weight. So John and I have gotten heavier. My dad has lost a ton of weight since that episode.
Oh, you tossed the IMDb in here.
I did. I tossed the IMDb for the episode.
Yeah.
But it was a real interesting experience. It was a lot of fun. I actually have been out many times it's acrylic tank manufacturing who did the tank that was the guys from Tank's company at the time, and got out to go to the warehouse, met everybody, we hung out with them. It was just a great experience. They interacted with the students, and it was a big deal. We had a huge reveal, and a lot of fun.
And that kind of changed the way that universities look at student life, right? You designed and built a building where its entire first floor was basically dedicated to making students feel at home. There were places where you could hook up video game consoles.
Sir,
full arcade.
I don't have an arcade in my house.
That's true.
I don't have 80-inch flat screen TVs in my house.
Yeah.
I have fish tanks in my
neat
house.
thing,
Well,
Justin,
John,
Justin,
that's
these are
your
like
fault that you
Stern
don't have
pinball
them, though.
machines, okay?
No, but what
Currently,
we
there's an
just
esports
did-
arena.
And what we just did at the university this past year was we converted where we actually moved the relaxation pods over to our library and took the room that they were in and created the first esports arena at the university with 15 esports stations, and they all project onto the lobby large screen TVs that we have out by the fish tank. But our students have commented, I mean, year in and year out about being able to study and have the fish and do those types of things. And when they're stressed out, they sort of sit on that concrete ledge that's behind me and just chill and relax. And they really have enjoyed it. But yeah, across the hall, what you don't see is the skee ball machines, the air hockey table, the pool tables, the pinball machines, the Fast and the Furious racing cars, and it's a lot of fun. Being a college student is very stressful. So I think that those of us who have been in the field a long time understand that and want to make sure that there's really a balance between, sort of that wellness concept between body, your soul, and your intelligence, and making sure that all are taken care of at a university, in a university setting. It's hard being a college student. It's stressful being a college student. Yep. But there are many, many resources at colleges, and I don't want to hijack a 3D printing.
No, man, it's a Father's Day special. You got this.
A college podcast, because I should probably just do those. But it's tough. It's tough being a college student, and the transition between high school and college is really difficult. And if you're not good at time management, you have to learn time management, because there is nobody that's going to wake you up to go to your 8 o'clock class. Yep. And trust me, and the boys know this, there are professors that once they close that door to the classroom, you're absent. Yep. Now you can come in, but you're still absent. And if you get 4 unexcused absences in the course, you flunk, for that professor. So, again, it's tough being a college student, and it is sort of like everything else that you do. If you wait till the last minute to do things, something always pops up.
You're gonna have a bad time.
The power, you're waiting till the last night to make that big print that's due the next day, and the power blows.
If a university comes over to work on a giant 3D printer that we may or may not have, and the power goes out in the middle of it all, that hasn't happened.
No, yeah, that definitely didn't happen. Like, there's the first time we lost power all year for more than 2 minutes, and we lost power for 2 hours when I had a group of students from Florida Polytechnic out here to work on their capstone. We're like, well, shucks, because I was in the middle of a bunch of prints for their parts, or for this printer, and I've got a ridiculous battery backup, but you don't want to load it down because you lower how much time you have left. So it was like 1 o'clock. We're like, lunch it is. Let's go. Gonna go out. We went out to lunch, came back, the power was on. It was great. But yeah, there are those things that you just don't expect, and it's so much easier said than done. It's to get your stuff done on, get it done early so you can go do whatever you want later on. Yeah, no one ever listens.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Early?
No one listens to that.
I've never heard that.
Now that
and I've logged on, and I think actually, Justin, it was on a podcast that you were on previously, and it's like when you all start talking, for my generation or people that aren't into 3D printing, it's like, what are you talking about?
I mean,
and so all of a sudden, it was like, even when the whole Cricut stuff came out, and I was like, are you talking about like the Cricut machine that I have?
Yes.
And they're like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know if it was something in 3D printing. So it's really fun to sort of watch, and I would encourage people. I have learned more watching the podcasts than I have, because when I go over and I start to ask questions, the boys don't really have a lot of patience. But when they're doing the podcast for other people, they have a lot of patience.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna defend myself here, because in my personal defense, I would give you responses not knowing where your level was for understanding. Now that we have Thomas, and when Brad is on, Brad is our, hey, go over this, and I've tried to do better, because this is becoming more of an issue. We never had a lot of, like, oh yeah, what are you making? Just stuff. Because the more I tell you, the more questions that neither of us need to know answers for get asked. It's like, now I can tell you, these are all stuff for people. These are all these prints are running the exact same thing. They are COVID vaccination card holders that look like the multi-pass from...
Wait, don't say it. Justin, what movie is the multi-pass from?
Oh, I thought it was like a Disney pass.
No. This is from a specific movie where an individual goes, multi-pass.
Oh, I don't know.
It came out
The
before
Fifth
we were
Element,
born.
come on.
It was before we were born.
I don't care.
I don't know what it is.
The multi-pass
Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element. Lilu did the multi-pass.
So Justin, by the way, this is probably gonna be Time-Lapse Tuesday, since I have like 5 different colors all done on one printer. So I think that'd make for a fun time-lapse for this Tuesday, because I don't have any other ideas, so...
Everyone in chat, please tell me you knew that reference, please.
We need to make like a fake vaccine card, not fake, but like one that
No,
looks
sir.
like something to put in there, or just a picture of Grant to put in it.
Why
for
don't
the time lapse?
I'll cut a piece of paper to fit in it, and you guys can just chroma key something stupid for it.
Or just blur out the.
Or yeah, we'll use my actual.
We can use mine because
it's
it's not stickers. Mine is actual print.
We can just blur stuff out. But nonetheless, that's what we're making. I've got a social event coming up, and it requires that you verify your vaccination to go to it, which is so cool. I am very happy about this. And
I just got a text during the podcast. I think I get for my the Apple Wallet thing. I have a digital copy of my vaccine card now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Allison doesn't know the Fifth Element reference.
Well, it is a good
Allison,
movie.
Go watch the movie. 10 out of 10. Amazing movie.
Just like everyone should watch Tommy Boy. Everybody should watch The Fifth Element. What are some other...
Pretty much every old Adam Sandler movie is up there of really, really pretty damn good movies.
Rudy, yes.
Rudy,
you gotta watch Rudy.
There's just all the cult classics, right? So, crap. What's in the box? What the hell's the movie? Whatever.
Nonetheless,
I do have a question I want to ask, because I think that the viewers want to know, and I can't type on the live chat because I'm looking at a Zoom screen, but that's besides the point.
You can minimize the Zoom screen.
Oh yeah.
But yes, you're welcome to ask the question. What's up?
I had to say what my most embarrassing moment was, but what are the boys' most embarrassing moment of their parents? Or of me, either one.
Not a whole lot. I mean, it's embarrassing at the time, and you look back on it, it's like,
I think that's it, right? In the moment,
yeah,
it is a big thing. As probably the fact that you guys will never let me live down the fact that I had 5 staples in the back of my head for when my dumbass shut my head in the trunk of the Jeep. I was getting home late from work one day. This was well before I owned businesses. I was working at MOSI, the Museum of Science and Industry here in Tampa. And I always carried a toolbox with me because I liked my tools. I always knew where my tools were, so I brought my own damn tools. It was just the way that we did things. And I was getting the tool thing out so I could bring it inside, and I go to shut the trunk, and I am 2 inches too far to the right and just right on the back of my head, and it is then pouring blood. And I have this oh shit moment, because I don't know what to do. We live in the middle of nowhere, Florida, and I go and I say, John, I need a towel. And so he brings me out probably the whitest of white towels that we own, because he didn't know what it was for, and I have vasovago out, so I'll pass out a lot of times when I get blood drawn, so I'm trying to keep myself conscious so I don't fall over and hurt myself even more. And so we end up driving me to the hospital, because it was faster for us to do it that way than it was to wait for the ambulance, because the ambulance would have had to come from the hospital, come pick me up, and then take me to the hospital. It's faster just to go there in the first place. But 5 staples in a
but
written...
Justin, just picture a person closing the hatch on a Jeep. It wasn't like he pushed a button and it closed on him. He was literally closing it with his arm.
Your car's old enough that it has to be closed manually, right, Justin?
Yeah.
But Justin has a Lexus.
Oh, must be nice.
It's a 2006, right?
Is it? Wait. What is it? What is it?
It's an
ES
IS.
350. ES.
ES.
ES. Okay, that's okay. I was gonna say if it's an LS 400, you win the day. Awesome.
Oh, because it's
But
got the
still
2JZ motor in it. But yeah.
No, it's because it's the million-mile car.
I have the grandpa car.
Yep.
It
GS
was my
350.
grandpa's car.
Hey, Justin, does it have?
What's-
does
yeah,
it
I'm
have
pretty
4
sure that's got a
tires and
2J,
get you
sir.
from point A to point B.
Yeah, it gets me from point A to point B. It
So
works.
it's a perfect car.
I love
I
the
don't have
old
headlights,
Honda
though.
that just hit 159,000 miles. It is old. The car's older than Justin.
Justin, if you don't have headlights, just buy some on Amazon.
I'm not gonna. I gotta just go.
There's a
and
whole
get
thing
them from the
about it.
store
They're
and-
very expensive.
Yeah,
We're not going to
they're
get into
very
it.
expensive.
But yes, I think that's probably my most embarrassing moment, but I think it's because no one's ever going to let me live it down. Just like I'm never going to let Justin live down the fact that he almost got me in hardcore federal trouble for mail fraud.
We both didn't know. We both
didn't know, but
That was
you
bad.
gave the guy to me. So ultimately, this is your fault.
I love how like the serious defenses. We were both too stupid to look into this.
Yeah, I don't think ignorance.
Okay, but
is a
Jonathan, you
defense.
haven't answered the question.
It seemed too good to be true, and gosh darn it was.
Jonathan still didn't answer the question.
I like literally. I don't have a whole lot. Like
Oh, I know
maybe
what John's
the bike
is.
riding. The bike riding
That
one
was-
when I was learning. Yeah,
That was the one I was gonna
actually
use.
told this story to my coworker on Friday. Like, so we were learning to ride our bikes in the parking lot of Rollins College's now gym. Their gym. I don't know. It was a big open parking lot, essentially nothing in it. And I say essentially because that's what happens. So I guess like you were working with Grant or something, and I'm just like tooling off on my own like an idiot. Hit the only parking stone and the only sign in the whole parking lot of an auditorium for a college.
I mean, it was probably a 500 spot parking lot.
Yeah.
With one
Like-
light pole in the middle of it.
At their age,
Yeah.
again, they were
10 out of
young,
10.
learning how to ride a bike. I could have said, I'll pay you $500 to run into that pole.
Yeah.
And they probably, neither one of them, because they were learning, could have done it for that incentive. And he ran into it.
And this is when you wish smartphones were a thing, because that would have gone
No.
viral.
No. Actually, he could have sold it for an NFT like they did with the Charlie bit my finger one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Was
See, that could have been your
$600,000 or
retirement
something
plan,
ridiculous? Yeah.
I could have been retired by now, but no.
Sorry.
Should have
Yeah.
invested in Dogecoin.
I chose the life of a small business owner. I tried the whole getting a job thing and ended up with 2 herniated discs. So I think I'm gonna stick to the small business owner thing for now. But yeah, it was. It's everyone's got those stories from their childhood that are generally burned into their head. But mine was like I was 19 or 20. How old was I when that happened?
It wasn't
I was definitely not a child as far as the U.S.
No.
government
You
was concerned.
graduated college. You were 21.
yeah,
Oh, I was
we
at
were
least
we were
21,
out of
that's true.
college for sure. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, at least mine was I was a dumb kid. Yours was like I was a dumb adult.
Look, I've said it from day one. I got 2 business degrees. Neither of them are in math. So I was a little off on my calculations. Hey, whatever. It happens, man. I'll never forget going, because I was working for Mosey, and they're like, yeah, we got to shave your head. I'm like, I can't shave my head.
It was
I have a public-facing job. I can't, like, what am I going to do? Wear a hat? They don't let me wear hats. So they're like, well, if we don't shave your head, you got to do staples. I'm like, okay, whatever, staples. I didn't realize how painful staples were, especially on your head because you feel it when it. Anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I wore a hat my first day, and my boss is like, why are you wearing a hat? And I kind of do a bow, and I take off my hat. He said, oh, put that back on. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad we're both on the same page here. But yeah, it was just one of those fun little moments that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. This was a fun one. We didn't even talk about Prusa. Do we want to talk about Prusa real quick, or what do you think?
I mean, I think you covered a lot of it in the video, and
yeah.
Go watch the
It's
video.
fine.
Yeah, go
It's
watch
fine.
the video.
Put the video link in. Put the video link in the podcast.
And for the slicers, I have missed a lot of stuff on the slicers. Some of it deliberately, and some of it I will say I missed deliberately, but definitely didn't miss it deliberately. But I want to shout out Eric Cederberg and his company. What is it again, Justin?
3D Workstan.
3D Workstan. They are going to give us a lot of great information because Eric is incredibly close on the development of the Cura slicer. So he's going to assist us.
And if anybody else is watching
about it.
this that has actual constructive criticism and might even be like Eric and be close to the development of a slicer, hit us up.
And honestly,
Not only would we love to hear what we did wrong, we'd love to have you
on a podcast.
say it on a video.
I want to have you say it on a video that we'll edit down, but then I want you to come on the podcast and talk about the whole thing. Allison says, get your dad to tell us about Prusa. We were going to have our dad do that, but he didn't watch the video yet.
No, that's not true.
Wait, you said you didn't? Or are you watching it now?
I watched part of it.
Okay, well, that's fair.
The problem is that the memory is not what it used to be.
My mind isn't either.
And so, just be glad that I know that Prusa makes a 3D printer.
You know what? That's what makes me proud. Okay, the fact that you are part of the Prusa army, and I found out some things yesterday. For those that have watched the video, the resin sensor is not new. The original SL1 had the resin sensor. I had no idea, and I'm surprised that it hasn't hit the cheap printers yet. I was correct. So I filmed that video before Prusa Live happened. So if you look at the video, it had 1,000 views when I filmed my version of that video. So you can tell how quickly it was from when that video came out and their press release came out to when we went into filming for that video. And Prusa went through basically every single thing that I covered, except they have not referenced the screen cooling. And we asked
the
our,
fans.
I wonder if it's on
That
the
one-
other one. I
don't
wonder
know
if it's on
it
the
is.
original.
But I was talking about
don't
this
have
last night on our maker call, and saying this printer is not designed for newbies, right? And Prusa said the same thing. He's like, we are not competing with the $200 resin printer. Said, you want a cheap resin printer? Go buy one of those. If you want a resin printer that's going to work, you get this. Dad, to give you an idea, the resin printers that I have, the most expensive one is $500. So, and their company's making a profit when they sell that machine. This printer is $2,000, and the owner of the company said publicly that its bill of materials is over the cost of a Mark III's assembled, which is $1,000 US. So its bill of materials is more than the two big resin printers that I have sitting next to me, which are $500
But
each.
is it now? Wait, if I remember right, and I could be wrong, so you can correct me. But this one's Wi-Fi capable too, right?
It is
For a
Yeah, but
browser.
Yeah, it's got its own way to view it through a browser, which I think these bigger ones do too, but I would never use it. I think that was something that it's something they're going to be implementing. So my understanding of how Prusa does all of their stuff is that as they get cooler and cooler machines, that technology trickles into their newest machines. So the full color LCD that we see on the Prusa Mini, I have I know generally as certain is going to get that we're going to see a screen similar to that on the newest Prusa FDM printer whenever the hell that comes out.
I mean, there's no reason that it wouldn't be.
Exactly. The 32-bit
Now-
buddy board. It's going to be in there too because there's no reason it wouldn't be.
I'm a little
but
bit
this-
disappointed
the new
about
one,
that.
The new one, the quality of the print's better.
It is, and it's all because the printer is so much more rigid, right?
And the mono screen.
But mono is consistent across the industry, and that's something that I want to mention. That I mentioned in the video that it is better than its predecessor by orders of magnitude. But when you look at it compared to the rest of the industry, the screens are now on the same level. The build volumes are roughly on the same level for the smaller resin printers. But its speed, because of the way that the tank tilts, I have a resin tank. I have a resin tank right above my desk. It's empty, okay? It's a completely brand new resin tank. The tank will tilt. And that assists in the peel force because this is a piece of film, and it's got the covering here, so I can do that. But it's a piece of film, and this film sticks to your parts, and you have to peel it away. If your tank moves as your build plate is going up, you are reducing the overall peel force as it occurs. That is why the machine is so much faster. Because the monochrome
Prusa doesn't do that like dip thing that like the Elgus and pretty much every other printer that doesn't have a tilt or a wiper straight like a wiper blade like the Formlabs have.
Tilt is better, straight up. Tilt is better
because the little bounce takes a second or two, and that adds up when you're doing thousands of layers at 0.002 micron, like 0.05 micron,
50
0.05 millimeters.
And something to look back at though as well. Prusa straight up said, if you want a cheap printer, go somewhere else. That's essentially their entire business model.
But see,
you want one of the best in the business, you go here.
It's
but
not
like the Mini is almost the same price as a Ender 3 though.
A Mini is the same price as an Ender 3 if an Ender 3 had all the features a Mini has, and it still wouldn't be as good of a printer. I'm going to say it.
Again, and I would venture to say that the new printer, I mean, it's not an entry-level machine.
A Mini is an entry-level machine, but
the
this
Mini
SL1
is not this new one.
Mini is. No, the new one.
Yeah, and resin...
Especially with...
I'm like...
Resin is toxic.
Right, resin, yes, resin is toxic. There you go. I'll do it where it's supposed to be, but I think that resin printers, as cheap
not
as they are...
Not if you leave it out in the sun.
What? Oh, yes, right, because it has to cure. The curing process makes resin clean, but like, let's say your favorite son was in my office and I had printers a lot lower, that could kill him, right? And you don't want me killing your favorite son accidentally.
That's why he doesn't go into your house.
That's exactly why he doesn't come into
This is
the house.
actually extremely true.
But now the printers are also very high up. I've made sure they're away from all little, small individuals that might find their way in here. Like cats. Dogs, and even 17-year-olds might have issues, Justin. But
Grant, you have issues.
Resin to me should not be as cheap as it is. I have an issue with it because like when water washable resin came out, people started washing their resin parts in their sinks. Because in your head, like, oh yeah, it means I can wash it in my sink. No, it means that you can clean it with water. The resin is still toxic. It just means you can clean it with water.
That's that it being too cheap, like that's almost like exactly like my dad and I were talking. So the new Tesla came out, 0 to 60 in just about 2 seconds. It's $150,000.
Which, first off, is a lot of money.
Yes,
but to get that performance is like saying you're paying for a Hot Wheels car and getting an actual car. There literally is no other production car on the market that is quicker. The term is quick. Nothing. Not the Bugatti Veyron, and that's a multi-million-dollar car. Can't touch it. And this will do it 100 times back to back. Doesn't need a damn thing. Shout out to Nissan GTRs.
Yeah. But like when you can get that much power for that cheap, it's almost the same sense. It becomes dangerous.
Are we going to start
like for reference?
seeing,
I went for a drive in a Hellcat Durango, 710 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's no need, but there is.
And see, like
you gotta show all those hot boy Hondas what it's about.
We make fun of Mustangs because none of them know how to leave a car meet, because Mustangs are 500 horsepower monsters that you can get for less than $60,000.
Less than 40.
Less than 40 for a 500 horsepower
It's like 34 for a GT right now.
And so what if you can find them? But
and they come in auto now.
What happens is that people that want a fast car but have no idea how to drive it end up buying the cheapest fast car they can so that they can feel cool. The midlife crisis cars, if you will. How many Corvettes are in your neighborhood, Dad?
8.
Yeah.
And how many homes are in your neighborhood? What is the percentage of Corvettes per capita in your neighborhood?
Well,
it's quite high.
There's 61 homes.
That's pretty high.
So that's an over 10% rate of homes to Corvettes.
That's why the meme exists.
Only 2 are driven.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Now, are there C8s? So there are C8 Corvettes as well?
That's the new one?
Yeah, the new
Yeah,
one.
that's the
Yeah.
new one.
No, there's only one.
Okay.
They probably won't have many there.
So there's only one guy with a $100,000 car in the neighborhood. But it's crazy to me because we are enabling users to hit new levels. Like parts off of a resin printer are just ridiculous. Is this a good print? Yes, that's actually a good print. Like this is off of a resin printer, and it's real tiny.
Like big wheel.
It is a big wheel. It is exactly what it is. We had an order for this. They paid and they never picked it up. So they're going to remain here until they come and pick it up. But like this on a $200 printer is ridiculous. There's no valid reason a printer should be that cheap other than Elegoo specifically has driven the prices down. And I think it's cool that it enables people that want the technology, that have the skills to get into it. But I believe it is also dangerous for those that are buying the technology, not knowing the risks that it comes with. And end up
we're going to make a
hurting
video
themselves.
on that.
We're
We're going to make a video on that. We're going to show just how bad a $50 3D printer is, because I swear if that thing actually has thermal protection, I will praise that.
It
we
definitely doesn't.
It definitely doesn't. Not for $50.
I'm so excited.
So-
We're going to set up outside and let it literally melt itself down.
We're going to put it in thermal runaway on purpose to show what happens with cheap printers and how it literally goes from, okay, that's kind of hot, to, oh my God, my house is on fire.
Yeah, so we're going to do it outside where it's nice and safe on some concrete or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool because it enables more people to get machines. And I think the fact that it's gotten more mainstream has allowed, people like my dad to look at 3D printing more than just like, oh, I'm going to make Bernie Sanders and put them on my computer. I'm going to make actual functional parts. And yes, I still get people asking, literally the guy that's helping our SEO right now is like, could I 3D print fairings for my motorcycle? I mean, the answer is yes, but the answer is why? When you can buy them for so much less. And they're going to be so
do that
much
to me all the time. So Justin, they do that to me all the time. I'm like, hey, I need this part. Can't you just 3D print it for me? They're like, how much is it? It goes like $6. They're like, buy it.
A good example of that is the tripod mount that Grant made for his DJ Osmo Pocket.
Yeah,
he did the whole live stream not realizing that this part already existed, and it was $10.
Here's the part. Here's the part. This is not the printed one. This is the one from Amazon for less than $10 to my door.
Yeah.
Fits into the Osmo Pocket precisely the way that I was thinking too.
There was one time though, like that I wanted to share, like you were talking about, like the wing nut, like for the drill.
Yep.
And like my first real practical print that really showed me like what 3D printing could be was like in cabinets, like those little shelves and like a kitchen cabinet, and it's almost like a pegboard is what holds them up.
That little pin.
Yeah, that little pin snapped, and we had like ceramic plates on it and just fell. Nothing broke, surprisingly. But,
oh wow, okay, you got lucky.
Yeah, but like 15-20 minutes in Fusion 360. This was when I was first learning it too. It probably took me 5 minutes now, and
It'd still take me 15.
and then like another, I think 20-30 minutes, like not even like I think 5-10 minutes. I printed 4 of them. Probably I'd say around 20 minutes for all of them, and I had a brand new shelf bracket, and those ones haven't broken. They're actually better than the other ones because I made them a little bit beefier, and that's really where like I saw 3D printing could be. And I didn't know if I can get the part, if I could go to Home Depot and go find. I didn't know like exactly what this part was. I could have probably brought one and found it.
Oh yeah.
But less than an hour of my time, and I had a working cabinet again.
You're in LA. It might take you longer to get to Home Depot than it took you to design it and 3D print it. I had a similar situation where the car that I drive is older than Justin is, and the actuator for the brake pedal switch. So the brake pedal switch sits above your brake pedal, and that way as soon as you hit your brake pedal, it turns your lights on. Well, there's a little rubber piece that is what touches that. It disintegrated. Well, that means your brake lights are on constantly. So I could go to Amazon, buy one, and ship it to me in a day or two, and I'll have a dead battery by then, so I'll have to take out I'll have to take off the battery. And the one thing about Hondas that I like and hate at the same time. If you take off your battery, your car radio has a security feature where you must enter a code to unlock it. And I always forget the stupid code. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to have to enter this code. I don't have to figure it out again. I'm going to go home. I'm going to design it, and I'm going to 3D print it. Now, I got lucky. Somebody else did the design work for me, so I just downloaded the part from Thingiverse, printed it, and installed it in the car before the battery went dead. So I won that, because, of course, if you turn off your car and your brakes are still on, your brake lights still stay on. Right? Whether or not your car is running, your brake lights will stay on.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's a little dangerous because other motorists don't know when you're braking. So I was able to get that repaired and fixed, and it's perfect now. And so my car it's got a few 3D printed parts in it, because there's it's at some point, there's no purpose in going to a dealership and buying a part for a 19-year-old car. You can make it yourself. And yes, Allison said it's all about the cost versus how urgently it's required. And I think if you have access to the technology, try it. Buy it from Amazon knowing it's going to come tomorrow, but give it a shot on your 3D printer. And if you can do it faster than Amazon, do that return, because we all know they don't charge you for it. So do that return and be able to see how you can utilize that technology in your lives, because you might find more value to it. And I believe the value to 3D printing is not just in being able to solve some of the dumb first world problems that a lot of us have, but it's in also bringing families together, right? Justin, when you did that part, all of a sudden your parents are like, this is not a toy anymore. There's value here. And, you know, they ask you these questions, and parents, I know that my dad struggles with things to ask me about this, because the knowledge just isn't there, because I've spent the last 13 years of my life really learning this technology and eventually building businesses out of it, but he hasn't. And so now his education comes from the YouTube videos and maybe a grant rant or two here or there. But I think that it's brings families together, especially those where they have younger kids that can utilize this for school projects, can utilize this for research, can utilize this for their hobbies. And then the parents get to see how it's useful for them too. So I see so much there. That's not an intrinsic benefit of 3D printing that we get out of it. And it's why we're doing this video on the slicers and all the slicers, because slicers are really where the rubber meets the road. Printers are going to be what they're going to be, but the software, howdy, man, IdeaMaker was a nightmare for me to go through their UI. It was really tough. Once I figured it out, it started to make a little bit more sense. Cura's UI, I'm told with some add-ons it can get better.
Yeah,
but
a little.
Prusa Slicer to me has one of the best UIs out there. Now, I've used it for years, but before that I used Simplify 3D, and before that I used Cura, old Cura, and then before that I used Repetier Host, which we're going to show off. I have the old version of Repetier Host that I used to use. I'm going to show off what it used to look like before we show off what it does look like.
And do like a live upgrade. I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I think all this stuff is valuable. I like making these back to basics series. They are a little troublesome sometimes, because I have to remember, all right, Grant, imagine you are trying to explain this to someone that has never seen a slicer before. How do you do it? And that's why on the IdeaMaker video, I couldn't slice it for a Mark 3S. I can go online and find a Mark 3S profile. I didn't find one very quickly. I said, okay, if I don't find it on a cursory inspection, I'm going to wipe my hands from it, and I'm going to show that I cannot use this slicer for my new printer unless I buy a Raise 3D printer, because that is what the average consumer is going to do. On Cura, yeah, it's made for Ultimaker, but they've got profiles pre-done for the Mark 3S and Ender 3s and all the big affordable 3D printers out there. And that to me is where the value proposition comes in of something like Cura over something like IdeaMaker. And that one gentleman in the comments that ripped me for not giving IdeaMaker a chance on the Cura video, or Prusa Slicer video of all places, would probably say that I'm not giving it a chance. Well, I am going to give them a chance. We're going to do an update in about a month or so once I've had some more time to learn them and kind of give my opinion as someone who's used them for a little bit.
I want to try it too. I'm going to try it on my machine and see if I can. Because I just wanted to try it because I've never used it, and I know a lot of people after the betas of for the belt printers and stuff. I think that was them that were just doing belt printer stuff.
The IdeaMaker is the kind of the belt slicer software, but there are a lot more coming down the tubes, and I hope you all will enjoy that. But I think this is a pretty good time to close it out. Dad, thank you again for hanging out with us. Dr.
Happy Father's Day.
Ken, happy Father's Day, of course. Is there
Anytime,
anything,
y'all.
any sage dad wisdom that you would like to leave everybody with before we go ahead and sign off on this one?
Be nice to each other and have a great weekend. And like we said, don't sweat the small stuff.
Do you want to do my sign off? You want to do it?
No.
No? All right, well, since he's not going to do it, I'm going to add a CTA in there. So if you guys are still enjoying this video, or if you're listening to it audio only later on, don't forget, we live stream this every single weekend on our YouTube channel. So make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, get subscribed, leave the video a like, and comment, because we love to talk to you guys in the comments. Sometimes I release these on Thursdays for audio only, but I totally forgot last week, so it's going to go live as soon as this live stream is over. It is uploaded, I just don't have all the stuff typed in. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. And happy freaking Father's Day. See you later.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.